All right. Hello. Good morning. Just wanted to hop on real quick. I had some things I've been thinking about for the last couple of days, and actually they're kind of two separate topics, but I think I'm going to combine them in one video just for being brief and concise and consolidation. Two things I was thinking about was experimenting with the carnivore diet. A lot of times people who do the carnivore diet experiment with varying and different versions. Everything from including fruit and honey to including starchy vegetables. Some people go as strict as what's called the lion diet, which is only beef, water, and salt, and that's it. And typically that's for someone who's really in need of healing some serious issues. But some people just experiment with it for a week or a month just to kind of really see how they feel with just, breaking it right down to bare minimum of components. And for some people, they feel amazing eating like that and choose to eat that way indefinitely. A lot of people have to eat that way for health issues. Michaela Peterson pretty much eats that way. I think she includes a lot of lamb, just ruminant meat, salt and water, because she has so many health issues that that's what she has to do. But there's so many things you can experiment with carnivore, and it's really helpful in understanding what true food sensitivities you have. Some of the things that people experiment with, besides what I already mentioned, is coffee or no coffee, dairy, eggs. For some people, eggs can be an issue. Some people are sensitive to eggs. And for those people, what I say is, if you do think you have a sensitivity to eggs, try just egg yolks. A lot of times the sensitivities come from the whites. But that being said, even for some people, they just can't do eggs at all. Thankfully, since eggs are about my favorite food, I think they're my favorite food. I have no problem with them. I eat 4 eggs every morning, and it's probably my favorite meal of the day. So other things that they experiment with. Oh, organ meat. So that's a bit of a topic, but some people say that you really need to include organ meat to really round out all your nutrients. And there's plenty of other carnivores who do not include it at all because they either say that it's not as important as other people say. Some people just flat out don't like it. And so that's another thing to experiment with. I have experimented so far with chicken liver, which no, did not like, and a little bit of liverwurst, but I think I'm going to give that a try again. I think I'm going to give that a go round again because I think that might be a good way to get a little bit of organ meat. I still have not tried beef liver. I know some people, my mother used to love beef liver. One of her favorite meals was liver and onions. Loved it. So I am going to give that a try. I do believe you can overdo it with organ meat because it is so nutrient dense that it's possible to get too many, especially things like vitamin A. You can actually get too much vitamin A from organ meat. So I think if people include it, they should only use small amounts. Maybe a couple ounces a week, and that's it. I'm thinking of trying. There's some ground beef out there that grinds in organ meats into the mixture. So that's another thing I was thinking of trying. And again, it would be something I would only include sporadically. It would not be an everyday meal for sure, but something just to kind of stick in every once in a while, like a little vitamin, extra vitamin every once in a while. And and then the other thing that can sometimes cause some people problems is dairy. Dairy is tricky. For many people, they have no problem with it whatsoever and include plenty of dairy. Other people can't include any. It can be inflammatory for some people. It can also be addictive. It's high in calories, so if you start getting a little addiction to the dairy and then you start eating more and more of it, you will gain weight. I mean, for the most part, carnivore is not a calorie counting diet. You can typically eat to satiety and not worry about your calories, and you can eat quite a few calories. But dairy is one of those things that add up. Dairy has something in it. I believe it's called casomorphine. It's very similar to, you guessed it, morphine. And that's where it gets its addictive quality from, and also acts in the body kind of similarly. If you know anything about morphine or pain medications, a lot of times people get constipated, and dairy can be constipating for the same reason. So dairy can be tricky. For a lot of carnivores that are kind of in the middle, they include a little bit of dairy, not a lot, and many don't eliminate it altogether. That's about where I find myself. I did do an experiment last week with raw milk, because I was reading a lot about the health benefits of raw milk. And I'm not going to really go into that here. If you really want to learn about it, if you look up a website called realmilk.com, it's a great website. It's got a lot of information on the benefits of raw milk. I'll say real quickly, we've always known, we've grown up, we've only been exposed to pasteurized milk, and so some people get a little freaked out about the idea of raw milk, but honestly, the processing that milk goes through kills off a lot of the benefits of milk. The reason why a lot of people are lactose intolerant is because the enzyme that helps break down lactose is killed in the pasteurizing process. So there's a lot of good bacteria and a lot of good nutrients killed off in the process of pasteurization. So raw milk is very good for you, arguably very good for you. Even people who are lactose intolerant often can tolerate raw milk. Oh, and it's delicious. To me, it tastes like melted vanilla. Well, melted ice cream, maybe not as sweet as vanilla ice cream. Not quite as sweet, but still. I think it tastes like melted ice cream. But anyway, it's delicious. And I used to think I was lactose intolerant for most of my life, but I can drink raw dairy without gas or bloating or anything. But the one thing I did have a problem with is a little bit of constipation. So I had raw dairy for about a week, and the 3 things that I noticed, 1 was a positive and 2 were more of a negative. The positive was I slept really well. I was having a glass right before bed, and I feel like it helped me sleep. And I slept really well, didn't wake up as much. I mean, I've been, in general, sleeping really well anyway, but I feel like I slept even better. The 2 negatives, the only effect it did have on my stomach is I did get a little bit of constipation. Not a lot, but a little bit. Like sluggish, a little slower than normal. And then the other thing is my weight has been pretty steady since I lost the extra weight that I had to lose. I think once I was a good 3 months into carnivore, I was down to the weight that I should be and want to be. And I've pretty much not fluctuated more than 1.5 pounds from that weight in the last 3-4 months. But in a week's time of drinking 1 glass of milk, I gained 2 pounds. So maybe it's a fluke, maybe it's a coincidence, or whatever. So I would love to do it like more infrequently, like maybe a glass or 2 a week. The problem is you buy a whole, even just a half gallon of milk, and I'm the only one who drinks it in the family. Everybody else drinks pasteurized milk. So it would go to waste, you know what I mean? I'd get, out of a half gallon, I'd get 2-3 glasses in a week, or, I think raw milk will last in your refrigerator 7 maybe to 10 days, but I like to stick to 7 days, just be on the safe side. And, I feel bad. It's kind of a waste to buy that and only get 2 or 3 glasses out of it. I don't know. Anyway, I am very blessed. I live about 5 minutes away from a dairy farm, and they sell raw milk. You'll learn on that website, the Real Milk website, about the rules and regulations about raw milk and why you won't find it in your grocery store. So anyway, that was my experimentation with dairy. So that's where I am right now. Is pretty much the only dairy I eat is I have about a tablespoon of goat cheese in the morning with my eggs of goat cheese. Goat dairy is very good for you. Very good for you. Very healthy. Arguably healthier than cow dairy. And that doesn't seem to give me any issues whatsoever. I have a tablespoon of it every morning. Love it in my eggs. And maybe the occasional piece of cheese here or there. If I'm at a party or a gathering and they have a cheese tray, I'll take a couple pieces off of it. I have cheese in the fridge for the family, and every once in a blue moon I'll grab a slice of provolone or whatever and eat it. But it's not a daily thing. So I do have one serving of dairy every day, and that's the goat cheese, and that's it. And then everything else is sporadic. So there's that. Oh, here's another experimentation I've been doing. Sardines. Okay, so sardines are a superfood. They have a lot of calcium in them, a whole bunch of others. Off the top of my head, I can't really think. I just did a lot of reading on how good they are for you. And because it's a small fish, you're not running the danger of like high levels of mercury and stuff that you have with larger fish like tuna and salmon and stuff. So small fish are very good for you, especially sardines. I did say sardines, didn't I? Anyway, I meant sardines. And I had never in my life had them before. And so I've now officially had two tins of them. One last week and then one yesterday. And I do have to say, I'm not super crazy about it. I tried it two different ways. One way, I just tried them straight up, just ate them the way they are. They come with no heads and no tails, but they still look like a fish. Oh, and they're scaled too. Oh, and get them in water. Don't get them in oil. And kind of tastes like tuna fish, but different enough to really kind of make me, and you can kind of feel when you chew like the little bits of bones a little bit. And so I tried them straight up, and then I also, next time I tried them, I mashed them up with some softened butter that I mixed with a little bit of water to try to give it a mayonnaise consistency, and tried to mash it up like tuna fish salad, and it didn't help. But so I think if I include them, I will just kind of wolf them down by themselves. There's usually 3 to a can, and I think I'll just toss them back and chew them up and swallow them as fast as I can. Not a fan of the flavor, but a fan of the nutrition value. So I probably will include those maybe once a week, once every 2 weeks. So yeah, those are some of the experiments I've been doing. Other than that, my diet's been pretty consistent. My eggs in the morning, my usually some form of ground beef for lunch, some form of ground beef for dinner, or steak. Ribeye is my second favorite food. I know it's crazy to think that ribeye comes in second to eggs for me, but it does. But anyway, and that's about it. Oh, and coffee. That's the other thing I want to talk about, experimenting with coffee. There's some people say you should try to eliminate it, and some people say it's fine, part of the diet. I've cut myself down to 1 cup of coffee a day, 1 in the morning, and that's it. And I think that's a good spot for me because I enjoy my coffee in the morning. I sip on it while I'm doing my Bible reading in the morning. I throw a good tablespoon of butter in it, and I also use some MCT oil in it and a couple of drops of vanilla, and froth all that up, and it's quite delightful. And what's nice is I do have that little bit of caffeine in the morning, that nice comfort, warm drink, but I used to drink one in the afternoon as well, every lunchtime, but now I'm kind of freed up from that burden of having to have an afternoon coffee. Like if we weren't home, if we're out running errands or somewhere, if it's sometime in the afternoon, 12, 1, 2 o'clock, I'd be like, okay, I gotta go through a drive-through. I need a coffee, otherwise I'm going to be sleepy. So I was very reliant on that second cup of coffee. So I eliminated that one, which has been really great. So I still have the enjoyment of the one in the morning, and then I don't have to think about it the rest of the day. I have no attachment or need for the afternoon coffee. There was a time in my life several years ago where I had 3 cups a day, each one filled with about 4 tablespoons of sugar. So I've come a long way. That's a lot of sugar. Anyway, so mainly this focus was kind of about experimenting with diets, but I kind of wanted to touch on a second thing real quickly that I was thinking about is getting started on a healthier diet or steps to take toward better health that doesn't include carnivore. Because maybe you're someone who, been listening to people talk and still think, after all the testimonials and all everyone has said about the benefits they've gotten from this diet, it still sounds too crazy to you. It just doesn't compute. It can't be possible. Everything you've learned your whole life doesn't make any sense. Can't do it. No way. So, and for those people, I have, let me think, 3 tips to start with, and you will start to feel a lot better. Number 1 is eliminate all excess sugar. If you're drinking soda, do what you got to do to get yourself off soda. I mean, I know it's very addictive. It's the sugar in it, the sweets, the caffeine. For some people, that's a tough one. Some people, it's as hard as giving up cigarettes to quit soda. But give up soda, give up the added sugars. If you're putting sugar in your coffee, get rid of that. If you're eating a lot of sugary snacks, put all that stuff aside. Work on that. Now, that one might take a while because that withdrawal from sugar is a real thing. So people who eat a lot of sugar or even don't think they eat a lot of sugar, but if they were to sit down and really examine their diet, they would find out they eat way more than they should. So that's a tough one. Eliminating sugar will be a struggle, but that's a huge one. I would say that's probably number 1 thing you can do for your body if you did nothing else at all is just getting rid of all the excess sugar in your diet. And then second, and almost as important, I would say it's just a smidge under getting rid of sugar, is getting rid of all processed foods. Everything that is run through factories and chemically created and manufactured and human formulated and has a million ingredients, that is not food. That is food-like substances that your body doesn't really know what to do with. It does the best it can, processing it, storing it, eliminating it, but it taxes the body over time. After a while, it can't deal with this stuff coming into your body that's not real food, and that's one of the biggest bases of illness. Sugar is affecting people's metabolic health. Processed food is kind of just taxing up our whole body as a whole, the whole system. The mitochondria, they need energy, and they need particular types of energy, and they're basically starving because they're not getting real food on a highly processed diet. So, processed food. If you're eating boxed cereals for breakfast, if you're eating granola bars, if you're eating Pop-Tarts, if you're eating frozen waffles, frozen burritos, whatever you can think of that's got, eating a lot of chips, you're right, anything that's just got a lot of chemicals and man-made components to it. Make sure your food comes from nature. If you're still eating plants, make sure you're eating fresh fruits and vegetables, and real food. And then the third thing is something called seed oils, and I would highly recommend you looking up some information online about the history of seed oils. That is the type of fat and oil that is harmful. When you talk about heart disease and all sorts of other chronic disease, seed oils are going to be the big culprit behind those things. Corn oil, canola oil, rapeseed oil, vegetable oil, anything. The only decent plant oils are avocado oil and olive oil, but you do not want to heat those, okay? Eat them room temperature, like olive oil in a dressing, like if you make a oil and vinegar dressing for your salad, that's good. You don't want to cook with olive oil, and you don't want to, avocado oil, I have to double check on that. That might have a higher smoke point. I have to look into that, but definitely olive oil don't cook with, but you can eat it. If you eat to cook with fats, you want tallow, ghee, lard, suet. You want animal fats to cook in. Everything that's fried in restaurants, French fries and anything fried, it's dunked in, some form of vegetable oil, and that is where the health harm comes from. That's what clogs arteries. That's what it hinders your cardiovascular system, contributes to diabetes. It was invented as machine lubricant. Okay, that's where our original seed oils, things like Crisco, originally were intended to lubricate machinery. It was never meant to be consumed in our bodies. Somebody looked at the byproduct of machinery lubricant they were making and noticed that when it solidified, it kind of looked like butter. And so they said, I wonder if we can turn this into a food product. And Crisco was born, okay? So do not put machine lubricant into your body, all right? So those three things: eliminate sugar, eliminate processed foods, eliminate seed oils. And if you do nothing else beyond that, if you still include all the fruits and vegetables and include, grains and things like that, I would contend try to keep your grains pretty low, though, too. Try to keep those to a minimum. But even so, your diet, everything else, you'll be leaps and bounds better. Leaps and bounds. So anyway, so that's all I want to talk about today. And I just want to hope you have a great day. And I hope you're having a great summer. It's been beautiful, other than this weird smoke that I guess everybody's dealing with, but the weather's been good. So anyway, if you're a camper, I hope you're enjoying your camping season, and we'll talk again soon. All right, God bless.